Well, first, what a privilege to be with all of you here this morning and with our colleague, our newest colleague, but who is making an incredible impact. And I hope we have an opportunity to talk a little bit about some of her experiences and some of the things that she's going through now in her reelection campaign, which have not gotten a lot of national press coverage, but I think merits just kind of bringing up. And I also I do want to say something about this guy right here. I didn't know Tony before he got elected. So he's an appropriator, so we spent a lot of time together. And I will tell you, those of you that don't know him well, that have not had the opportunity to know him well, here's my bit of free advice. Get to know him. This man is a superstar. He's a rising star. You're going to see him continue to grow in leadership positions in the Appropriations Committee. And you will find him to be not only incredibly open and receptive, but highly intelligent, and one of those people that you want on your side. And so it's a privilege to get to know him when we've become good friends in the relatively short time that we've known each other.
Mario's just saying that because I laugh at his jokes.
Yeah, no. And he promised me $5. But so again, thanks for being here. Look, interesting thing that's taking place in the country, right? You're starting to see a dramatic change in the attitudes of the Hispanic population around the country. And I always warn people, it's not that Hispanics love Republicans, but they're getting really, really concerned. We are getting really, really concerned about what the Democrats are doing and what the Democratic Party has become, frankly. And so I think we are now at the cusp of a historic moment. Because imagine if we're able to really capture that population. It's the fastest growing population in the country. And, historically, I've been hearing for a long time, the Latinos, they should be Republicans because they're conservative, because they're hardworking, because they don't trust government, because they believe in making sure that they have control of their kids' education. They support public safety. And, of course, my question has always been, all right, but then why aren't they? And I think the answer to that really is rhetoric. It's not policy. It's as we were talking a little while ago, when I was getting breakfast. It's really been a really unfortunate rhetoric and attitude that some Republicans have had. It's not policy, it's rhetoric, it's tone. And so imagine if we can just get Republicans to understand that we're on the right side with Hispanics on policy. And if we can just get Republicans to understand that no matter how good the policy may be, if you insult somebody, you're going to lose them, right? And so that realization is starting to happen. And more importantly, the realization that the Democratic Party's policies, the Democratic Party that has become the party of the extreme left, does not fit with the Latinos in the United States. So we are now entering, I think, a historic moment. I think your election was, a dramatic wake-up for so many people, right? So, by the way, she's conservative, she's tough, she's pro-law enforcement. Her husband is law enforcement, obviously. And yet, look at the vote. Look at the vote. So I think we are about to enter a new era in U.S. politics. We are poised to be able to take advantage of that, which is why Tony and I were talking about, what do we have to do to grasp this moment. And it's great to see that others, outside folks, have taken this concept, have run with it. And I think you're going to see some really exciting things as far as increase of Hispanic Republicans coming to D.C., which is good for the country, it's good for the Republican Party. And I think really then changes the entire political landscape of the United States. And so I'll shut up, Tony.
Yeah, look, it is an honor to serve with Mario. We all call him the Godfather because he's been up here and he knows it in and out. And he serves on the Appropriations Committee. And one of the things that I learn oftentimes by observing, I learned a long time ago, never pass up an opportunity to keep your mouth shut and just listen and watch. And to see the way Mario operates, especially in the committee process, is exactly what this place needs. More statesmen, more how do we get back to regular order? How do we empower subcommittees and go through the committee process, not just throw things on the floor willy-nilly and vote them up and down. That's what this place is missing. And Mario leads that. I've seen it time and time again in the THUD committee, and it's just really exciting for me to be able to learn from a person like that. It's also exciting to see the future of where our party is going. And oftentimes we all hear the same things. Why aren't Hispanics Republicans? I think a lot of times it's because they don't have an option to vote for. And for the first time in a long time, we have so many Hispanic candidates up and down the ballot in every single race that you can imagine. And that is very powerful. The other piece of it too is you can't just show up into a community 2 weeks before the election, speak a little broken Spanish, and then take off and then think you're good, right? And throw some money at Spanish TV and go, there's our Hispanic outreach. You can't do that because guess what? They're going to see right through that like any other community would. You have to show up early, you have to show up often, and you have to be genuine. And you got to go, look, we are not going to agree on everything. There's going to be things that I do that we don't agree on, and it's just so naturally the way it is. You can't BS people, especially those that have been forgotten for a long time because they're already skeptical of you. You know, when I ran my race, nobody knew me because they're like, this guy has no chance of winning, right? It was already predetermined. This DC had already predetermined what was going to happen, but they forgot that the electorate is the one that determines that. So in my race, the very first place I went to was Eagle Pass, Texas. You see it in the news a lot now, but in Eagle Pass, it's predominantly Democratic. Will Hurd, the last congressman, after 3 cycles, you know, he got up into the 22%. 22% of it, he built up to get to 22%. And that was the very first stop. And everyone would go in, what are you doing? You're doing it wrong. You know, there's no Republicans there. And I go, I'm not talking to Republicans. We have to talk to everybody. And we have to say it the exact same way, right? As conservative places, moderate places, liberal places, you have to say the exact same thing. The other thing I would say is people are tired, to Mario's point, people are tired of the rhetoric. We know what's wrong. We know we're paying $5 for gas. We know the border's out of control. We know inflation's through the roof. We know there's no housing opportunities. We have to be the party of solutions. But we just need, you know, productive members of society coming up here and running the place. And guess what? If they happen to be women, great. If they happen to be Hispanic, great. If they happen to be veterans, great. We just need to get back to regular order in this place. And I'm excited, you know, as we work together to find those people and help those people. In Myra's case, look, our team, and not everything's about money. A lot of it too is just helping. You know, our team went down and for 4 weeks, we block walked and we phone banked for her. It's 105 degrees out there. Her and I were block walking. The gnats were like attacking me, like these killer gnats were everywhere. I'm going, but this is how you win. Like, this is what you got to do. It's not just the fancy dinners and all these other things. You got to roll up your sleeves, talk to people, and I think that's what's really exciting about it.
You're about to break. You're about to go back to your districts. What are the messages that Republicans as a whole and that you all are going to be taking back to your voters?
I'll tell you what, one of the things that I'm really excited about is that, you know, Kevin McCarthy put together, frankly, listening sessions and got everybody involved who wanted to be involved on an agenda starting the first day. And if you look at what happened when Democrats took control, it took them a while to figure out what they were doing. We're not going to have that problem. We already have an agenda. That'll be announced formally, I think, is it September, right? Is what it'll be but it's already formulated, and it's the issues that, frankly, American people care about. If you look at what Congress is doing now, it has nothing to do with what the American people care about. You know, they're desperately trying to find an issue, and all of the issues they're finding are, frankly, these kind of elitist woke issues, right? So we're putting together a very strong agenda, and it's no surprises. You know, public safety, obviously, inflation, energy, the issues that the American people are really, really concerned about, that I think Republicans are uniquely positioned to do really good things on. And so I'm really excited about that. First, it's going to be something that also candidates are going to be able to use. Republican candidates around the country are going to be able to use because, you know, they're always looking for what are those issues that resonate. And equally, or I think more important, is that on the first day, we're going to run with this agenda. And, I think it's important for the American people, Tony said, to realize that we're not going to just be talking about stuff, that we're going to get things done. And, I understand it takes 60 votes in the Senate and a presidential signature. But there's some of these issues that I'm really excited about, having it in front of the Senate and hopefully in front of the president, and see what they're going to do. So I'm really optimistic.
Yeah, I represent 42% of the southern border, and the district takes me 10 hours to get from one end to the other, 2 time zones. It's just a lot. Texas 23 is just a lot. The people are very different. One of the things, we're at the forefront of this border crisis, and we have been for a very long time. One of the things that I've done is host members in the district to see it firsthand. We actually just got done. I've hosted Kevin McCarthy twice. I've hosted Elise Stefanik. We just got done with a trip with our Chief Deputy Whip, Drew Ferguson, who's absolutely amazing. And we hosted staff. We've hosted candidates. So this was our 12th CODEL that we've hosted at the border. Over 70 members of Congress. So I always tell the folks, and it is not easy to get to these places, not easy to get to Del Rio or Eagle Pass. It takes you about 2.5 hours. And what I tell folks is like, look, you're going to see the border, you're going to see the security piece to it, you're going to get all those fancy photos that you see all the time. You're going to be able to have all these talking points to be able to go on Fox and do all these hits that you want to do, but you're going to see a whole lot more to the border than just that, right? There is a cultural experience that people are going to get and realize the people of South Texas are the same people of northern Mexico. They're the same. They just happens to be a border there. And then they're also going to get, we have deeper conversations on immigration reform. And see, this is, I think, something that the Republican Party can lead on. The Democratic Party is so lost. They are so dead set on amnesty and that's it. Like they're just dug in on that. I think there's an opportunity for the Republican Party if we lead, not with the contentious areas, if we start with work visas, we start with rule of law, right? We start with border security. People deserve to be safe in their own homes, regardless of where they are. We start there and we go with work visas, right? Not talking pathway to citizenship, none of this other stuff, right? We start there. Reality is there is work shortages in every single industry across the country. We met with some ranchers not too far from the border, it's about 60 miles from the border, and they go, Tony, we've got hundreds of thousands of people that are transiting through my property, yet I don't have people to pick onions to get it to market. I lost over $1 million worth of crop because I can't find folks. And so I think there's an opportunity if we do it in a manner that is thoughtful, and that's one of the things that I've been doing. As these members go down there, we talk about security, but we also talk about a whole lot more. And I think if we can do that, man, the future of this party is bright. It won't be a flash in the pan, one cycle. This will be decades. We would have shifted the political landscape in a demographic that is growing.
And it's interesting if you look at, is it possible? Look at Florida. Florida in the last 10 years has become a lot more Hispanic and a lot more Republican. So it's doable if you just are conscious of what you're doing. And so in Florida, that's a reality that we saw coming decades ago. We started, and it wasn't just by chance. We started working it, showing up, and on policies. It's not only Hispanics; the American people are with us on the policies. But again, as Tony said, if you're an exotic, we don't want you. We don't want you. By the way, the trust is not going to be out there helping people that are campaigning say they're going to vote against, Kevin McCarthy for Speaker. If good riddance, right? Because we have a job to do. We have to get things done. And so again, Florida is a good example. So I think the future is really bright.
Given all the stuff that McCarthy and others are going to roll out, what are 2 or 3 of your most important priorities that you think you can advance that also helps in this effort? And Congressman Flores, she wanted to jump in too, but first, what's most important to you, since you are legislators and you like to get stuff across the finish line and get stuff done?
Yeah, no doubt for me, it's border security, and you're going to see that as Republicans roll out our commitment to America. This has been a topic that we've been spending a lot of time and effort on. For me, We have many discussions. We just had one, with Catco and some others a week or so ago. And the way I look at it is my district is at the forefront of this. So, while people are playing politics with it, my people need help today, right? I don't care how it comes, they need help today. So it can't just be rhetoric, or it can't just be, a position that is unattainable in my eyes, that the party just puts something out there. To me, there has to be some obtainable wins, right? Can't be, maybe not everything we want, but something has to make things better. It can't just be, oh, we're going to use, your district is going to be in chaos for 4 years because that's going to be politically beneficial for us. No, it has to be like, how can we help people today? And I'll be honest, like I have conversations with anyone that will listen. Secretary Mayorkas met in my office 3 weeks ago. I hosted President Biden for the Uvalde event. At the very end of that day, I asked him to speak on not that wasn't the time, but if I could get some time at the White House to speak with him about the border and others. I mean, I talk border patrol every day. So I think the answer is Republicans, and for me, border security is going to be very important, and I think the conference it's going to be very important as well.
I'll just add, that is a huge issue, right? But remember the old adage, it's the economy, stupid, right? And so inflation, the economy, and part of that is energy. A big part of that is energy. As a matter of fact, the Southeast Florida members of Congress, all three of us Hispanics, in Florida, in Florida, the environment is top of mind always, because if you spit on the ground in Florida, in 2 days you're drinking it, right? I mean, it's our aquifer is right there. But we did an op-ed on energy. Because what this administration has done on energy, by the way, it's one of the causes of inflation. It's also a national security issue. And the irony of irony, it's increased our CO2 emissions as well. So it is bad in every way. And so, but I do want to go into a little bit of an inside baseball issue, which is not really exciting for other folks out there, but you guys are inside baseball. We're basically right on the diamond.
And today's a baseball game.
And today's a baseball game, yeah. We got to get the appropriation bills done. The last thing we need is to have a new Congress with those appropriation bills sitting there, and then having people who have no say, no input, no idea, who just got elected in a Republican majority, having to vote and for those appropriation bills. And so it's also, since we do want to get our agenda done, and we want to do that from day one, last thing we need is to have an appropriations fight in a new Congress. And so I'm optimistic there, even though nothing's happening right now. Tom Cole likes to say that our biggest hope is what he calls the two old men in a hurry in the Senate, who have a big incentive, right, to cut a deal on the top line numbers and on the allocations. And if we do that, we'll get them done quickly. So just can't minimize that. That has to get done, and I think it would be pretty catastrophic. And as you all know, there are so many members of Congress that don't understand the appropriations process on both sides of the aisle. And my fear is that if we start doing the CRs, there will be that moment with Republican members start saying, hey, let's just wait until we're in control, because we'll get a better deal. Well, the reality is that it won't be much of a better deal. And it will create lots of problems. So that is something that is, as appropriators, we're constantly trying to get. But that is way above our pay grade. It requires the Democrats to want to negotiate. And so hopefully the two old men in a hurry will start talking.